It's your test day. You have prepared for this. You've gone to lectures. You've watched so many YouTube videos on the covered topics. You've memorized hundreds of random facts. You are ready for this nursing exam until you start taking it. And the questions look nothing like you have ever crammed into your brain in the last few weeks, or if we're being honest, hours. And then you leave the exam in a pit of misery and go to your teacher explaining how their exam was awful. And they give you the standard, well, nursing school exams are just different. But they may or may not actually provide you with any solutions to that problem. Am I projecting too much? Probably. Either way, nursing school exams are really difficult. So our studying for them has to look a little bit different too. And today I'll teach you how to do just that. If we haven't met, I'm Liz. I am a nurse practitioner and a member of the Lecturio team. We believe everyone can be a great nurse, and our goal is to provide you with whatever tools and support you need in order to make that happen. We post 2 YouTube videos a week on nursing content, and then throw these little fun ones in here and there about nurse life, all the other things. Make sure to subscribe and hit your notification bell. That will ensure you never miss bonus episodes like these, where we troubleshoot frequently asked questions, like today's topic from, well, me, because I'm willing to bet I wasn't the only person who struggled with knowing how to study and the whole exam problem in nursing school. So I don't know about you, but in my perfect world, I would experience the following test situations. I learned that dogs have 32 teeth. I don't actually know how many teeth dogs have, but that feels right. And so I memorized this fun fact. And then when I go to take the exam on the topic, it would give me the following options. Dogs have 30 teeth, 32, 34, 50 teeth. Circle the right one. Now, since I've studied that fact, I can now regurgitate it and I get an A. Yay, go me. But nursing school exams are like this. A dog has 37 teeth. Actually, in retrospect, as I'm talking about this, it might be terrifying if dogs have 37 teeth. Anyway, nursing school exams would ask you, what is the likelihood odds ratio of this dog getting a cavity if it consumes 3 grams of sugar per day, equally spread over the teeth, and the dog has 37 teeth? Right? Nursing school exams do not ask you about facts. They expect you to learn the facts in your studying and then apply those facts to safety situations. Because the NCLEX and nursing school exams are primarily geared towards making sure that you are safe. They're not really worried about the number of teeth. They're worried about the cavities. So if you go into a nursing school exam expecting to just regurgitate facts, you're going to be bewildered, like the student I once was, sitting there staring at your paper, wondering how it was that I had studied so much and I just had no idea what this test was even asking me about. But there's hope. If you tweak your study method to reflect the actual format of the exam, all of the hard work you put in while studying is going to pay off. And I promise this doesn't involve too many extra steps. I know it probably sounds scary. So here's the secret. Are you ready? When you're studying, every single time you learn a new fun fact, pause and ask yourself this. What are the safety implications of this? It can be the smallest thing, but I bet you can find some safety implications surrounding it. For example, let's say you just learned that beta blockers lower blood pressure and heart rate. What are some things that we would associate as safety factors related to this? I want you to take a second. Yes, during this video, just take a second and think about it. Leave them in the comments below. So we know that beta blockers may make you more prone to falling when you stand up quickly. It could be problematic, especially if you have another medication on board that also lowers your blood pressure and heart rate. So we should watch for that. We should look for it in your vitals. Again, we should be really cautious of falls. We would want to think, what are other medications that have a similar name so that we don't accidentally get those switched up? And what are some common side effects of this medication so that we know that it might be a potential safety risk if this pops up with our patient and we should maybe question continuing to give the med? If we really take the time to sit down and ask ourselves what the safety implications are of this after every single item we learn, that's a new fun fact, our brain is naturally going to start making those connections between fun fact and the safety implications. And let me tell you, it is much more helpful to make those connections while you are sitting at home in a comfortable environment than when you are sweating in your exam chair wanting to run out of the classroom screaming. Now, if you are like past me, I hear my past self screaming, future Liz, that will take way too much time. And bad news, yes, it's going to take a little bit more time, but not as much as you think. And in the long run, it's actually going to save you time. So your brain is really cool, and every single time you make new connections between fun facts, your brain is slowly starting to make those paths more automatic. The brain works a lot like a road. You know how when you move to like a new place and you have to get directions every single time you go somewhere, like the grocery store. The first few times you're like, I just want to go get groceries, but you have to use your GPS to help you get there. And it's just obnoxious because you literally can't go anywhere without directions, right? It seems really taxing, it's overwhelming, and you just want to get simple things done like go to the grocery store, but you can't because you're unfamiliar with your route. However, by like the 10th time, you can navigate the road to the grocery store with ease. And by the 20th time, you just kind of like magically show up at the grocery store and wonder, how on earth did I even get here? P.S. It's like totally terrifying how our brains do that. We're just like, I have amnesia about the last 20 minutes of my drive. But when we're learning how to drive new places, because our brain is so used to making the pathways of like connection, and because you've done it over and over again and you've practiced, when it comes to situations in the future, it'll automatically kind of just travel to the same conclusions of how to get there without being bogged down by like the tediousness of turn right here, turn left here. It just kind of like it knows. So just like that, your brain, if you train it to go and look for the safety implications and make those connections to fun facts while you're studying, and then you continue this exercise and make new connections and new bridges by repeating this every single time you learn something new, and really incorporate your knowledge of the new area of your brain into the map while you're practicing. When it becomes time for the exam, your brain will automatically make the connection. Beta blockers, low blood pressure, watch for falls, make sure it's not any of the other meds that sound like it. And oh, look, those are the answers that are offered to me in the question because it was a safety issue. Done and done. Since you did all the practice runs, it's really easy to get to the destination at test time. No running out of the classroom in a panic required. So that sounds pretty great. I know, but wait, there's more. There's more. Are you ready to supercharge this new strategy you have unlocked? I know other things that are going to help your brain make these connections and make them even more available to make even new connections. And these superpowers are sleep and any type of body movement, literally whatever makes you happy. Because the brain literally sticks out more baby roads and bridges to build connections with each other when we sleep and we exercise, which is magical. And we need all the magic we can get in nursing school, if you know what I mean. So, while it may seem tempting to go and lock yourself in a room at the library for 8 hours in order to cram for your nursing exam the next day, it would actually be way more beneficial to download your Lecturio lectures on the topics you need to review, which you can absolutely do, by the way. Awesome feature, kind of like a podcast, listen to it all fast, and go for a beautiful walk outside. Make and grow new roads all at once, and then go to bed at a reasonable hour. Epic. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's go over a few practice questions just to get you in the groove of looking at questions in a new way. Let's say your patient is taking Lasix twice a day. Lasix, or furosemide, is a diuretic. It is going to help you pee out volume when people are in fluid overload. So what could the safety implications of reducing blood volume be? Well, it could lower your blood pressure, so falls for everything, seriously. But what's another thing it can also do is it can make you pee, right? And that's a complication potentially if you have an elderly patient and it's nighttime and they're going to get up, they might trip and fall in the dark. So again, falls, having to go to the bathroom generally. This also may be something that makes a patient not want to take the medicine because they don't want to get up and go to the bathroom all night. So maybe looking at like, hey, is the patient missing doses? That's a safety problem. And then once you've come up with those problems of safety, then you'll try to solve them. A safety tactic maybe you could employ would be either giving the medication a little bit earlier so that it's worked out of their system by the time they have to go to bed, ensuring that you toilet the patient before they go to bed or anything related to that, watching to make sure you hold their medication if their blood pressure is too low, looking at their heart rate, because we know that if your heart rate is really increased, it could be a sign that their blood volume is already too low and it's working really hard to pump it everywhere. So we would maybe want to hold the medicine. Are you kind of getting it? Is that making sense? I promise there's no fun fact that cannot be turned into a safety fun fact. And now let's take a peek at a more emergent situation. Because remember, sometimes all you need to do to know how to like be the safest in the environment is like who to call when. So what if you walk into the patient's room and they are pale, diaphoretic, clutching their chest and reporting chest pain and safety implications? Here you may think like, oh my goodness, there is some kind of acute coronary syndrome. Maybe they're having a PE. This looks bad. Really, the overarching thing I want you to get out of that picture is this is bad. Safety thoughts. If someone is presenting like this, what is the safest implication for this nurse to do? It's important to remember in situations like this that you can't really order anything because that's not your role in the situation. But what can you do? You can call a provider or anyone and get them to the scene and alert the type of emergency response in order to get this patient some help. So the answer to the question is, what is the safest thing? You need to get help, and you need to get it quickly. And then you can also go down the line and maybe say, hey, what are the next safest things that I can do? And you can prioritize after this, kind of go down that path a little. What might I expect to be ordered? What would I probably see? And, I would expect to give this, make sure you grab their vitals. Maybe you're going to be giving fluids. Maybe you'll be doing other interventions. And it's important to familiarize yourself with those. But through the lens of safety, the safest thing is realizing these symptoms. So you would want to know the safety symptoms to know, and what to do next is get help real fast. So again, we're learning a fun fact. We're thinking safety, and we turn it into a safety fun fact. Yay. I know it seems tedious right now. Trust me. As I'm talking, I'm like, oh, this does seem tedious, but I promise it will get a whole lot quicker as you're going through it, and you're going to have to make these connections anyway. And I promise, I've been there. It is much easier to make them on this end versus the exam end. That doesn't end well. So I'm curious, does this sound like a study strategy that would be helpful to you? If so, make sure to check out the rest of our study skills playlist where we have all sorts of study tips. I'll leave the link in the description below, as well as any of our other courses in our comprehensive guide to literally an entire nursing school curriculum. Thanks so much for joining us today. If you learned something new, make sure to give this video a like. You are more than welcome to comment with praise or just asking us any general question about nursing or nursing school. We'll answer in an upcoming video. And hey, maybe share this video with a friend. Happy learning, and remember, you got this. See you next time. And maybe check out one of these videos because they're probably pretty helpful too.